Hi, this video is the third in a series of my exploration into NLP, hypnotherapy and meditation. In this video, the focus is on using ideomotor signals and questions, statements and commands to get rapid long-term change in helping people to quit cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, binge eating, food cravings and gambling and so on. Now, NLP, hypnosis and meditation, they give you some powerful tools for healing and personal development. But like any tool, they're pretty useless unless you understand what the tool is designed for and you take the time to practice. Let's take a quick look at a tool analogy. A carpenter's workshop is very different to a motor mechanic's workshop and to an engineer's workshop. You might be able to knock a nail in with a spanner, but it has limited use. And just because you can buy a hammer and saw doesn't mean that you have the skill to produce a beautiful piece of furniture. Just because you have a set of spanners doesn't mean that you can fix your car when it breaks down. So NLP, hypnosis and meditation, they all give you some powerful tools, but you have to know how the tool works, which is the best tool to use, and the correct procedure in order to get the desired outcome. So when I was introduced to NLP hypnosis in a psychic skills class back in 1984, I saw the possibility of what they had to offer. So I immersed myself in the study of NLP, hypnosis and meditation. So let's start with NLP. I read Frogs into Princes and all the early books. I still have them there on my bookshelf. So what I would do is read the book, then reread the book and write out the procedures by hand. In some cases, I would extract the procedures from the text, then I would memorize the procedure and then find someone to practice on. At that time, I had a lot of friends in the sannyas community who were into personal growth, so that was easy. I ended up with a box of A4 notes about 2 to 3 inches thick. And it was only about 5 years ago that I threw them out. So one of the first things I did was to learn how to elicit ideomotor signals. Ideo comes from ideation, mind. Motor refers to muscle activity. So mind affects muscle activity. Every thought that you have is manifest in some way in a physiological response, whether that be a head nod, head shake, a finger movement, sense of warmth in the body, or increase in heart rate. And in working with others, it's useful to get a signal that is easy to see, like a finger movement. Now, back in one of the early books, there was a procedure called 6-step reframing in trance, which required ideomotor signals. And God, it was a laborious procedure. Anyway, so I had my client friend sitting across from me, sitting cross-legged on the floor in front of me. I say something to the effect that ideomotor signals are a communication from the unconscious mind and that the unconscious mind can give a signal to indicate a yes or a no by moving a part of the body in some way or another. And at that time, I was very much into Ericksonian hypnosis, which is all about being open-ended and allowing the client to decide how they should respond or make the desired change. So I said something to the effect that it could be that the unconscious mind chooses to move the head, the legs, the arms, the hands in some way or another, or it could be that the breathing changes in some way. However the unconscious mind should decide to communicate will be fine. It was something like that. The question was very open-ended, something I would never do today. Anyway, then I sat there, straining, in peripheral vision to take in the entire person's body, and then the guy's right eyebrow just moves up, and then he cracks up laughing because it was all too obvious to him as well. So then I found a German friend to work with. I had him lay on his back on the floor. I gave the instructions for a yes signal, and he lifted his entire right leg up in the air. And I thought to myself that, this couldn't be a real ideomotor signal. That ideomotor signals were meant to be like subtle and hard to detect. Anyway, I persevered and I asked his unconscious mind for a no signal. He responded by lifting a stiff right arm into the air. He actually lifted it, shoulder, hand in the air, but I'm not going to do it because it's politically incorrect. Anyway, so I'm thinking that these signals look more like conscious moves than unconscious movements. But I persevered with the 6-step reframing and trance procedure. He wanted to stop smoking, so from memory, you set up ideomotor signals and then you ask the part that is responsible for the smoking to reach into the unconscious mind, access resources that will enable the smoking behaviour to disappear. Something like that. I haven't used the procedure in years. But anyway, the guy stopped smoking. So that was my first smoking client. And then his partner wanted to lose weight. So I ran the same 6-step reframing and trance procedure with her. And 2 days later, she told me that her sweet cravings had increased. And at that time, I didn't know what to do. So there was a big learning in that. And then I had this American friend. What was his name? Dharma Michael. He came to stay at my place on the beach in Cottesloe, Western Australia for a couple of months. He wanted to stop smoking. So we were standing in my room having a conversation. And remember, this is back in the mid-80s. I had no formal training in NLP and hypnotherapy. I read a lot. I attended lots of personal development workshops, meditated 2 hours a day, as did a lot of my friends. So I'm having this in-the-moment conversation with Dharma Michael, explaining how the 6-step reframing and trance procedure could help him to stop smoking. We talked for about 10 minutes. Then he gets irritated with me and walks away. He goes out onto the back veranda for a cigarette. And lo and behold, that was his last cigarette. And he stayed with us for a couple of months, and that was the last time he smoked that I saw him. Anyway, over the years, I discovered that in working with addictions like cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, gambling, food cravings, etc., the NLP by itself, it just was not enough. You have to use hypnosis. And hypnosis may be sufficient sometimes by itself for some people, but not for everyone. And you really need to combine both NLP and hypnosis to bring about rapid long-term change. That is, you need to employ both the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. So the procedure that I developed after decades of experimentation goes something like this. 1, you give the preamble. So you've got to set your pre-frames. You see, in general, people smoke cigarettes, marijuana, drink alcohol, eat chocolate, and overeat because they're trying to suppress and medicate a negative emotion like boredom, loneliness, stress, and anxiety. On the other hand, they're trying to bring in a positive feeling like confidence and relaxation. In some cases, they're trying to give themselves something like love or nurturance. So the bad habit has a positive intention. That is, it serves them in some way or another. Now, more often than not, they're trying to quieten their internal dialogue. That is, they're trying to quieten their mind. The number of smokers I've worked with who told me that basically it's just they want to go out and they just want to quieten their mind. Or you get the couple at home, they go out into the balcony so they can have some me time and have a glass of wine together, and they want some quiet time. Anyway, let's get to number 2. So then you set a well-formed outcome. And 3 is you clear any negative emotions using the timeline procedure. And there's usually only 1 or 2 negative emotions that need to be cleared. And then 4th thing you do is you set up ideomotor signals. Ideomotor signals with the unconscious mind, so you get a signal for a yes and you get a signal for a no. Then the next step is to demonstrate how to use a pendulum, which is another ideomotor signal, but it's for new people, it's a lot easier and faster. And then you can do to what degree. And then the next step is to run what I call the banish procedure. So I have a procedure which I wrote out years ago, and it uses questions, statements, and commands. Very specific way to direct the unconscious mind to bring about the desired outcome. And then we use the mind director to clear the triggers, and that's a name that I coined for a procedure that I used that employs submodality distinctions. And when people blow out the triggers, that's when 8 out of 10 of them, I say, okay, so what did you learn? And they say, thoughts are just thoughts. So when they blow out the trigger using this procedure, their beliefs changes as well. And it's a really significant belief. Thoughts are just thoughts. So then they're shifting from the back seat into the driver's seat of their life. Back seat to the driver's seat of their mind. All right, so then the last thing we do is we ratify the changes. So you got to ratify the changes and then do a future pace. And then we get to question statements and commands. So back in 1990, I thought it was time I did a formal NLP practitioner training. My best option at the time was for me in Perth, Western Australia, was Terry McClendon, who was based in Cairns, Queensland. That is northeastern Australia. It's the other side of Australia. Now, Terry was part of the original group of NLPers. So rather than to fly to Queensland, I invited Terry to come to Perth, and I promoted the first NLP practitioner training in Perth in 1991. At that time, the NLP practitioner training was a 21-day course. 21-day course. Not like the short courses that are offered today. Anyway, I promoted and organised the NLP practitioner training by myself. I wrote the brochures, got them printed, posted them out to everyone that I could, including the Psychology Association. And that was in the days of envelopes and stamps. And I delivered introductory talks at various venues, showed people extracts from Richard Bandler's Magic in Action video that was filmed in Brisbane by Terry McClendon. And I visited prospects at their offices and spent hours on the telephone talking to people. And then I silk screened a large blue satin banner that I hung on the wall at the training. And I also recorded the training on audio tape, but never got around to marketing them. So that was a lot of work. Anyway, sometime during the training, we had just finished practicing a procedure when Terry, I don't think that he actually said questions, statements, and commands, but what he said was, the sky is blue. With the question tonality, the sky is blue. A statement with an even tonality, the sky is blue. With the command tonality. And it was years before I really understood the power of questions, statements, and commands. When we talk to others, we use questions, statements, and commands. When we talk to ourselves, we use questions, statements, and commands. And then it wasn't until I came across Michael Hawley's neurosemantics did I get an understanding of the power that comes from asking the right questions. Now, it takes a lot of skill based upon a lot of experimentation with a lot of trust in the unconscious mind to ask the right questions at the right time. So I'd really like you to think about questions, statements, commands. It's quite a big topic. It's really important, and you need to be really conscious of the questions that you're asking. You need to be conscious of your present state. You need to be conscious of your desired outcome. And to define your present state, your desired outcome, you have to be asking the right questions, writing down your statements. And then to make the changes, you've got to be asking the right questions. You've got to be writing down the right statements, and you've got to be giving yourself the right commands. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Anyway, in the next talk, I'm going to talk about the use of submodalities and hypnosis in helping people to beat their addictions to cigarettes, marijuana, alcohol, junk food, and gambling. So please leave your comments below. If you've not done so, you're welcome to join us over at the Facebook group for a discussion, and I look forward to seeing you again.